Okay, welcome. So in this last sort of series of videos that I've been doing, we've been looking at the idea of using a sidechain on a gate and using this gate to transform sample-based material, in particular loops. So the idea is, I mean, all of us have oodles, if not gigabytes upon gigabytes of loops that we'll probably not really use ever. And so therefore this is a way of taking those loops and breathing some life into them, so making them useful and doing stuff with them. Because sometimes, you know, you'll hear a loop and you think, oh, that sounds really interesting, but actually I'm probably never going to use it in my production. Now it's got really interesting artifacts to it, and we know that we could take that loop and put it into simpler. We can sample it, we can slice it up, we can do all sorts of things, and that's fantastic. But this sidechain gating sort of pattern also encourages what I hope is a kind of a slightly more exploratory, kind of improvised kind of approach to transforming samples that is more than just merely having them in a sampler. That's basically what it is, really. So the idea is we have a sample. Let me play you that sample. So I'm going to take the gate off. And with the gate on, nothing gets through. What we're going to be using is a kick drum, which is over here. And this kick drum has a MIDI pattern of kicks on the downbeat, right? And then what we hear is that comes through to the gate, and it opens the gate. And again, you need to adjust thresholds and so on. You can hear the other neighboring artifacts, which you may or may not want. It sort of varies, and depending on what pattern you've selected, this will change, right? There's nothing kind of fixed here about it must always be these sorts of relationships to the various parameters in terms of threshold, return, the envelope, and so on. The floor. If you bring the floor up, then you get more of the original artifact kind of poking through. So once you start to design a pattern around it, let me move these to the middle. So these are on the offbeat now, in the downbeat, on the second 16th note, and on the last 16th note of every block of beats. And you can hear that every time we're sort of hearing little changes to the audio material. So let's try this as a pattern. Now we could do this in a sampler. I'm not saying that we can't do this in a sampler, because we can. But here's a kick drum, and this is the kick drum that we are going to hear. It's 4 to the floor. Here's a question of sort of finding where you think, okay, that's a good place to be. I'm going to bring in the percussion. So now what we do is you move the MIDI events around. And again, if you've seen any of the other videos, I encourage you to select some of the events and then press Command L or Control L and then create a mini loop inside the MIDI pattern. And again, if you move the start point of the loop, then this will give you some more variations. And then of course you can move the loop raise. But there's also good stuff where you can, you can insert new kind of slightly sort of metrical polyrhythmic kind of layers to this. So this is running in threes, 1, 2, 3. This is 4. So it's really important to realize the implications of space where there isn't an event like here, that actually that also plays an active role, because what it means is, see, a gate is basically on or off. So if there's a MIDI pattern and there's space and it's attached to a gate, let's say, then that gate, basically the gate will be closed. So whenever we hear these two here, the gate is on, and if they're not, if they're muted, the gate isn't on. Therefore, even silence or the lack of an event here is actually meaningful because it doesn't open the gate. The gate only opens when we give it an event that's positive, that's basically on, right? Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. There are a number of videos to kind of explore this sort of idea. Links are in the description below. And do try this technique out. I know I've kind of done a lot of videos on this before, but it's really worth kind of returning to it. It's a source of lots of really interesting ideas. Okay, so the next series of videos after this will look at other ways of opening and closing the gate using other sort of plugins from the Ableton library. Okay, until next time, bye for now.